Welcome to New Booker Presents 5 Tips for Starting a Campaign for Beginning DMs. Let's get into this. Have you ever wanted to be a DM? Do you just want to play Dungeons and Dragons and there's no DM out there? Right now I'm going to give you 5 tips on starting your campaign. These tips are just little guidelines to stick by. Setting the right expectation is crucial for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign or one shot. What does that mean? Depending on what campaign you want to run, you need to make sure that you're setting the right expectations with the 4, 5, even 6 players you're playing with. Does that mean that you tell them right up front what you're doing? Yes. Make sure that if you're setting up a horror game or a dark fantasy or a light-hearted mystical campaign, you need to make sure that the players are ready for that. Number one, so they can create the characters for that type of campaign, and number two, so that way they know that is a game that they want to play. Not everybody wants to play in a dark fantasy or a dark horror game. Not everybody wants to play in a light-hearted mystical campaign. You need to make sure that the players know what they're getting into, because you don't want the situation where you get 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of planning a campaign or a one shot and nobody wants to play it. It will fall apart very easily. Having a plan is pretty crucial and goes without saying. In order to have a one shot or a campaign, you need to make sure you have a solid plan, a solid background, and a solid story to go into the campaign or one shot. This works for both of them. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a module set up or whether or not you're doing your own world. Having a plan is crucial to the everyday campaign. Whether it's setting a framework for your world, whether it's detailed notes and story elements that you want to have, or whether or not it's dialogue between certain NPCs and everything. Having a plan set on what you want your campaign to be is important, and it helps you so that way you can continue the story. Whether or not you're one of those types of people that just keep it in the back of your mind, I suggest having it written down on a piece of paper and ready to go for every game session that you play in. What does it mean? Be ready not to be ready. Pretty important. What that means is that there's going to be unexpected things even if you have multiple notes to go by. Being ready not to be ready means that all of a sudden a tribe of goblins comes from the woods and strikes the caravan and kills all your PCs. That could mean that the monster that you thought was going to be easy TPKs the party. It could mean that one of your party members goes and kills someone because they took a little piece of information that you gave them and just ran with it. It happens all the time. Being ready not to be ready is pretty simple. When the tribe comes out of the woods and TPKs the party, maybe the tribe doesn't kill the party. Maybe they take some of those magical items from the party and run off into the woods. And then you can set up a side quest for that party to follow. That could also mean that one of the playable characters goes and kills that random NPC. Maybe that random NPC was an evil mastermind or part of the bigger plot. Being ready not to be ready means you can improv on the moment to help out the party and push the story forward. Having good communication with your PCs is crucial to everyday events. What does that mean for you? That means communicating to your players and figuring out what parts of the story they enjoy. It could be maybe one of your PCs was very upset with the last game. Talking to your players is important for everyday character building and just having fun. It doesn't mean that your campaign is horrible or your one shot sucks. It just means that someone was upset with something. You need to communicate, well, what can I do better? Getting the right feedback and getting the proper feedback from your players will help forward your campaign and better your DM playing skills, because your players know that you're willing to work with them and communicate with them to have a better time. Always communicate with your players throughout the campaign. Taking notes. Taking notes is one of the most important things you can do as a DM. Every time you're playing in a game or every game that you have, you must take as many notes so you know what happens in that game. What that means is you're going to be consistent throughout the entirety of the campaign. You're going to be able to provide information that maybe your PCs forgot about. Taking notes is crucial to being a DM, and you must take them all the time. Always take notes. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys really enjoyed the video or you thought it was helpful, please do me a favor, like the video. If you want to know more or for more tips and tricks that I will have coming out, please go ahead and give me a subscribe. Comment down in the comments if there's something that you want me to mention or you want to hear some of my stories or anything else. Please feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to cover anything that you find that you need to know or that is important to you. If you would, go ahead and check out my other videos. Right now I'm doing some run-throughs of Alan Wake and Fable. If you're interested in that kind of thing. Thank you all once again. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to catch you all in the next video.